don't have your way, don't get your way in that main original Discord, which then inevitably will break away into separate Splinter Discords from your original Splinter Discord. But no, this is what Discord is made for: illegal activity and harassing and cyber stalking content creators, and pretty much that, like brigading Reddit posts. Like this is what Discord is made for, and then leaking classified documents. Yet the Ukraine files were evidently just a portion of the leaked intelligence. Yahoo News has seen over 100 other documents but cannot verify their authenticity, as the Ukraine documents previously reported have been selectively altered. It is quite possible that even these documents are real in part or in whole. They may have been obtained by a hostile foreign intelligence apparatus, if not manipulated or seeded with disinformation designed to undermine the U.S. or Ukrainian national security interests.
And what is so mysterious about these leaks is that the documents, and they are, as you said, on social media, Twitter and Telegram, available for all to see at the moment. What's so mysterious is about them is that they seem to be genuine, but at the same time, parts of them have been doctored. So we don't really know how they were leaked, from which institution they were leaked, from which side they were leaked. It's clearly they relate to the Ukrainian war and American assessments, but were they leaked by somebody in Ukraine? Were they leaked by somebody at the Pentagon? That we all don't know. And on top of that, some of the content appears to have been doctored just to cause further confusion.
Just to cause further confusion. So in whose interest would it be to cause further confusion?
Well, the Ukrainians are saying that this is a Russian intelligence operation created to sow division and discord within the Western alliance, because the documents do discuss Western support, the extent of Western support, money, and so forth.
What if it's a fake leak to mislead Russians? I don't know. I don't know what they would get, what service this shit what purpose this serves. Oh my God, what is wrong with my brain?
Narrow. Say, give me their piece.
If you want to, sure, I guess. I don't know. Does anybody
Yeah,
want a viewer call in and come shit on Karantas?
True, please come in. Come in. You guys think you're the greatest, right? You think this is not content. You guys think you could do better. You guys think you could dunk on me, please. I am the world's biggest fucking hoop currently.
That's just like scarier than anything else you can ever.
Easiest out of anybody, because he would have followed me because we're such good friends.
Why did you make the suggestion to Janie to go inside the school today?
Oh no. Chat's literally gonna see itself in here, and this is gonna be a weird one. Okay, I gotta pee real bad.
Do you know why you were going to do this?
No, I don't.
This is 14-year-old Michael Hernandez. He's an honor roll student at Southwood Middle School, the well-behaved son of a business owner and an occupational therapist, and as of right now, he's the prime suspect in the cold-blooded murder of his close friend and schoolmate, 14-year-old Jaime Goff. Detectives would get the answers they're looking for, but only after enduring one of the most spine-chilling interrogations they would ever conduct. The following footage revealing a 14-year-old killer has never been seen before. February 3rd, 2004 started like any other Tuesday at Southwood Middle School in Miami, Florida. Students gathered outside of the school to meet up with friends, socialize, and wait for the doors to open at 8:50 a.m. No one thought much of it when two particular students weren't at their usual meeting spot by the teacher's parking lot that morning. The doors opened and students flooded inside. Before classes started, a student decided to make a pit stop to the boys' bathroom on the second floor of the school. He couldn't have known just how traumatic this decision would turn out to be. Upon entering, another student whom he didn't recognize calmly walked past him and exited the restroom. He observed a single black book bag sitting near the entrance of the bathroom and specks of blood dotting the floor. He peeked underneath the stalls to check if anyone was inside. There was indeed someone else in the bathroom, but something was terribly wrong. A large pool of blood was forming on the floor inside one of the stalls, and there appeared to be a pair
Oh my God, what the holy shit, that could have been bad, dude. Yeah, I'm not in the mood for this right now. Well, I am.
of feet hanging down from the toilet.
I'm not
He
dirty
swiftly
bulking.
exited the bathroom to advise a nearby security guard that there appeared to be someone bleeding inside the boys' bathroom. The guard simply brushed him off and told him to go to class. He then went and told a friend what he'd seen. Together, the two boys proceeded back into the bathroom. The stench of warm blood had begun to fill the small latrine. The pair tiptoed cautiously toward the stall. They knew they had to look inside. They prepared themselves for the worst, then hesitantly inched the stall door open. The scene before them could only be described as nightmarish. A male student, later identified as 14-year-old Jaime Goff, was covered in blood and unresponsive. He was positioned face down, his chest and torso lying across the toilet seat, while his head and legs hung limply over the sides of it. Blood streamed down his face and into a large pool that was forming on the floor beneath his head. In that pool lay a lone pair of black glasses. One of the boys shouted to the victim twice. When they got no reply, shock turned into panic. The two fled the bathroom in hysterics, startling the security guard in the hallway. This time, alarmed by the student's clear distress, the guard rushed into the boys' bathroom. Upon witnessing the grotesque scene, he immediately radioed the Miami-Dade Police Department. The guard then left the bathroom to retrieve the assistant principal. Upon returning, the guard discovered that in the few minutes he'd been absent from the bathroom, someone had come in and removed the victim's body from the toilet. The body was now lying face up on the stall floor, his arms splayed out to the sides. School personnel could now clearly see that one side of his neck was shredded to pieces. The school was immediately put on lockdown.
Bro, I don't know how the fuck I'm gonna eat.
A few hours later, investigators entered the classroom of 8th grade student Michael Hernandez, who'd been identified by one of the two witnesses as the boy they'd seen exit the bathroom that morning. Michael's teacher approached detectives first, with a few pieces of interesting information. She stated that she let her students into the classroom at 8:55 a.m., and since that time, Michael had requested to go to the bathroom 3 times. The teacher observed that Michael had blood on his shirt, which he attributed to a nosebleed. He made 2 trips to the bathroom before 9 a.m. After the school went into lockdown, Michael requested to go to the bathroom a 3rd time, wherein his teacher summoned a security guard to escort him to an unoccupied restroom and back to class. This was reportedly the last time Michael had left the classroom. Michael was taken to an office on the 1st floor of the school to speak with detectives. When investigators inquired as to how Michael got blood on his shirt, he told them that he'd been hit in the face by a door while horseplaying with the victim earlier that morning. The detective examined Michael's face but found no open wounds that he could have bled from. Michael quickly changed his story. He claimed he'd gone back to the 2nd floor bathroom where he'd parted ways with Jaime earlier.
What sauce did you get? Come on, son. What a dumb question. Honey roasted barbecue, baby. Literally the #1 goated sauce on Chick-fil-A.
When he entered the restroom, there was already another student inside that Michael wasn't familiar with. The student advised Michael that there was someone inside one of the stalls. That's when Michael got down close to
Polynesian is like almost #1. Don't talk to me about Chick-fil-A sauce. I'm the sauce boss, bitch.
to the floor to look underneath. When he bent down, his shirt grazed the floor and got blood on it. However, he did in fact see his friend Jaime inside the stall. After that, he simply left the bathroom and went to class. After collecting Michael's statement, a consensual search of Michael's book bag was conducted. What they found inside told an even more shocking story than the one Michael had just spun. Inside the bag was a red jacket and 2 latex gloves, both with traces of blood on them. The detective asked Michael to accompany him to the station, to which Michael agreed. A little after 1:40 p.m., Michael was transported to the Miami-Dade Homicide Bureau office. Here, he regaled detectives with an
What the fuck was he thinking?
entirely different tale. The version you're about to see is more twisted and disturbing than anything detectives had heard so far. The following never-before-seen footage has been analyzed by a qualified team, including a licensed professional counselor, a licensed attorney and former prosecutor, and a licensed clinical psychologist.
Ready? Yeah. Please raise your right hand and swear you in. All right. You swear the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth.
Feels kind of gross.
Yes, I do.
But, you know, fuck it, we
Though
ball.
he is a minor at 14 years old, Michael is being questioned alone and without his parents, because in Florida, the law allows minors to be interviewed without parental consent or their presence in the interrogation. However, parents
Love that, by the way, for Florida, which is pretty big dub for the state of Florida, who also has the same principle that I just gave you. Fuck it, we ball. Florida's like, yeah, you don't care. We don't give a fuck. Yeah. Are you 7 years old? Who gives a shit? You know, we'll interrogate you. But also at the same time, they're in Florida, so the cops are fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like, it just basically, like, on the one hand, it is ridiculous that, like, you can be interrogated as a minor without your parents or, like, a, you know, actual counsel present. But also, on the other hand, it's like the person that's interrogating you literally has the brain of a 7-year-old half the time. So it's like a fair playing field.
can request a lawyer or stop
Someone says
the
skill-based
questioning on behalf of a
matchmaking. Yep.
minor at any time. These laws can vary by state, as some states do require parental consent.
Mike, just do me a favor. When you talk clearly so that Ms. Renee can understand you. Okay? For the record, could you please state your name?
Michael Hernandez.
Mike, what's your birth date?
February 2nd, 1990.
Happy birthday. So you just turned 14?
Yes, I did.
Very good. And what grade are you in?
I'm in the
You said you just turned 14.
Michael
Very
is being
good.
very cooperative and well-mannered during the preliminary questioning. He articulates well and answers the detective's questions clearly. His posture mimics that of an attentive student. He's sitting up straight, his hands folded in front of him, and his eyes keenly fixed on the detective. His body language conveys
By the way, this is the most 32-year-old, 14-year-old I've ever seen in my entire life. I mean, he's already a psychopathic murderer, right? So I don't really feel too bad shitting on him. But his fucking hairline, oh my God, dude. At that point, you're ABAB, assigned bald at birth. You don't have a lot of options, you know? You make do with what's going on.
his respect and a willingness to be compliant. However, we'll soon see that his motives are actually much darker.
What school do you go to?
Southwood Middle School.
And are you in any special classes or anything? Any honors classes?
I'm in gifted.
When you look like that at the age of 14, you got two options, okay? Crypto furry YouTube essayist that talks about libertarianism, 1 million Reddit karma, psychopathic murderer. That's it. He said, why not all three?
All my classes are gifted except for my electives.
Very good.
Is he balling, dude? What is this? Oh, I'm a gifted student.
You can read and write the English language, correct? And what are your grades in school, Mike?
A's and B's.
Michael appears proud to talk about his exceptional performance in school. Being a gifted student seems to be a big part of Michael's identity.
Do you know an individual by the name of Jaime or Jamie Goff?
Yes, I do.
The J in Jaime here is pronounced with an H sound, like it would be pronounced in Spanish.
Thanks.
But Michael and the detective pronounce Jaime with the J sound. At the mention of the victim's name, Michael's cool demeanor slips very subtly. For the first time, he seems to hesitate before answering the question.
Homie is 14, dog. That's probably why.
Yes, I do.
His hands make a slight movement, as if he's trying to talk with them, but doesn't exactly know how.
And how do you know Jamie?
We've been friends since the 7th grade.
And for the record, Jamie is the victim in this case. How old is Jamie?
14.
And you're 14 also?
Yes.
How much older is he than you?
I'd say about 4 months.
It's 300 calories.
Almost 4. It would take a few days.
Okay.
Normally, detectives ask a suspect very open-ended questions like, "Tell me what you did this day." But here, the detective is using a lot of leading questions, which may be due to Michael's very young age.
So what time did you get to school?
8:25 or a little after, between 8 and 9:30.
And when you arrived at school, where did you go to?
I went to the fence on the.
This is a diet lemonade, 25 calories. Chick-fil-A Cool Wrap, which is like 320 calories or something. And I had a grilled chicken sandwich, no cheese, nothing, which is another like 300, 400 calories.
Is where me and some other people would just hang out.
And this would be before class?
Yes.
And who are the people that you would hang out with in the morning?
You guys don't know how to do math,
Most
so.
of the time it's me with Jamie Goff, Andre Martin, and myself. And sometimes there were some other people, but they didn't hang out with us. They just were there.
Okay. Today, who did you meet at the fence?
I met Jamie Goff.
And how did Jamie seem this morning?
He seemed like he normal hall, like he does every morning.
Did you make any suggestions to Jamie that you and him go into the school early this morning?
Yes, I did.
And about what time was that you suggested that both of you go inside?
A little after 8:30, maybe like 8:31 or 35, between those times.
What time does school open and are students allowed inside the school?
8:50.
Did Jamie agree to your suggestion to go inside when you made that to him?
We had to make a deal first because he didn't want to get in trouble because we've gotten in trouble on previous times when we've attempted to go up there.
And why do you get in trouble for attempting to go inside the school?
Because it's too early and we shouldn't be walking around upstairs. And
I see. Why did you make the suggestion to Jamie to go inside the school today?
I was planning to murder him.
What?
Michael answers this question as matter-of-factly as he's answered all the other questions so far. There's not a single hint of empathy.
Throwing, bro. L. Big L. That's so weird. How the fuck how are you like a 10-year-old and that's the words that come out of your mouth? God damn, dude. Just broken from the jump. And I guess that's why it says like, this is the most psychopathic kid. This is the most normal Redditor, by the way.
Or remorse to be found. He seems undeterred, even by the fact that he's admitting to first-degree murder and exposing himself to the highest level of criminal penalty there is. Michael likely isn't aware of this, but under Florida state law, 14 and 15-year-olds can be tried as adults for certain felonies. They can also be subjected to the exact same penalties that an adult can receive, with the exception of the death penalty. Since Michael has already confessed to the first-degree murder of his friend, all that's left is to see if the court will possibly take pity on him.
Do you know why you were going to do this?
No, I don't.
Now, what was your plan? How were you going to accomplish this?
I was going to get him into the stall, the last stall, because it's the biggest, so I'd have more room.
Now, this isn't a restroom?
This is the restroom.
On which floor?
Second floor.
Okay, and it's the male restroom?
Yes, it is.
Where is it near?
It is near the Media Center and the Gifted U.S. History class.
And once you brought or got Jamie in there, how are you going to bring him, lure him into the restroom?
We usually go to the restroom after we get upstairs so we don't get caught by security.
Okay.
And so I knew that was going to work. I got him into the stall by saying, look, I have something to show you. So I got him into the stall and I told him to turn around because I wanted to be a surprise. Before that, I put on the gloves. He saw me put on the gloves and I said, oh, that.
Oh, you're going too fast.
And I said, I like them because they're.
Dude, I love that. I love that. This guy said, smart kid, but wrong intentions.
It's possible that Michael's cadence has increased here due to his excitement to talk about the crime for the first time.
This is always how psychopaths behave.
Retelling a story can be a way for someone to relive an experience, and it often brings back feelings associated with the original event. His fast talking could also be due to his eagerness to show how smart he was in preparing for this crime. He may be seeking admiration from the detective for how well he planned his attack. Michael's enthusiasm is also evidenced in his full cooperation when being questioned, appearing like he's sitting for a job interview instead of an interrogation. It's odd that he doesn't seem afraid or bothered at all that he's sitting there because he's been caught for the murder of
He was like, yeah, I thought, you know, if I do a really good job, you guys will hire me. That's what he thought.
his friend.
Now, you also said that you put on gloves. What kind of gloves were these?
They were latex gloves.
Where did you get them from?
My mother purchased them at Walgreens the previous night.
Why did she purchase these? Was that at your request?
It was at my request because I said that I needed them for extra credit for my science class.
There's no denying at this point that Jaime's murder was premeditated. More disturbingly, it seems that Michael mapped out every single detail and accounted for almost all possible factors before executing his plan. A thorough search of Michael's backpack yielded a secret compartment that he'd made by cutting a slit in the inner lining and attaching Velcro along the edges of it so that it could be secured shut. He'd used this compartment to store the murder weapon, meaning Michael had even planned for the possibility of his backpack being searched.
Now, you and him are already in the stall, correct?
Yes.
Did he go into the stall first?
Yes.
Did you follow him?
Yes, I did.
Did you close the stall door?
Yes, I did.
Now, what transpired next?
Okay. I
What the
was
fuck?
talking to him and I told him, all right, now I have to put my hand over your mouth.
Okay.
And so I did, and I lifted his neck up.
Now, was he facing you or was he away from you?
He was away from me.
Did you put your hand over his mouth?
Yes, I did.
And which hand did you use to put over his mouth?
My left hand.
Once you did that, what happened next?
I had already before I put my hand over his mouth, I already put my knife out. So the blade was already out.
Now, where had you kept this blade?
I had kept it in my jacket pocket.
And what color jacket did you have on today?
I had a red jacket.
Now, is this the same clothing that you're wearing?
Yes.
The detective is asking Michael a lot of control questions, meaning questions he already knows the answer to in order to see if Michael is being truthful with him. He's also asking him questions to see if they corroborate with the evidence they have already ascertained.
And what did you do next?
I took the knife out and I proceeded to slit his throat.
Now, do you remember in which direction you slit his throat?
Left to right.
Michael is able to recall the details of the murder extremely well, even noting the direction in which he slit his friend's throat. This is significant because it indicates that Michael didn't dissociate at all during the act.
Bro, there's something so weird with like psychopathic murderers that's just like scarier than anything else you can ever listen to. It's just like how matter of fact he is about it. If he showed any emotion whatsoever and he wasn't so cold and calculated, like if he was angry, if he showed remorse, if he showed sadness, at least like then there is like a bit of humanity inside of him you can recognize. Not saying you will have empathy for him, but like the fact that he's just not saying any single fucking, he's not showing a single ounce of like reaction to the actions makes it infinitely worse. Like that's a human being and it's not a human being at the same time.
Some offenders black out while committing a particularly heinous crime due to the extreme stress of the situation. Michael, however, was keenly aware of exactly what he was doing, from beginning to end. This idea is especially haunting when you learn exactly what Michael did to his young schoolmate. An autopsy of the victim's body concluded that, in addition to his throat being slit, Jaime had been stabbed in the neck over 40 times. It's gut-wrenching to think that Michael, a 14-year-old child, was in complete control the entire time, savoring every single jab, slice, and cut.
Did Jamie say or do anything? Did he put up a struggle?
Yes, he did. He turned around after I did that. He asked me not to kill him. So I told him, okay, I'm not going to if you cooperate.
Okay.
Which was a lie.
Right.
And so I realized that the stall door was open, so I locked it.
Yes.
And then I turned him around again and proceeded to stab him.
And where did you stab him, Mike?
I'm not positively sure, but I'm guessing around the jugular vein, right around here.
Okay.
That's what I was aiming for.
Did you stab him anywhere else on his body?
Just basically the back of the neck, all through the neck.
Okay.
And once in the temple, and I think I sliced him here.
And that would be on the left side of his face?
Michael is speaking very matter of fact and openly. He's likely excited to show the detective how clever he was. This may have overshadowed any thoughts of self-preservation, as he readily admitted to killing Jaime. He may be either unaware of or unconcerned about the legal consequences for his actions. In addition, his young age may have played a role in his readiness to confess. The prefrontal cortex does not fully develop until around the age of 25. Michael may still be feeling amped up and powerful after the murder, and is acting on that emotion, which may make him want to brag about what he did, rather than consider the fallout for his confession.
Now, after you did that, what happened?
I left, I took my gloves off, and I flushed them down the toilet.
Okay.
Yeah. I left, and I went to go clean myself off. People were coming in, and so I left that bathroom and went to the other one downstairs.
Okay, let me stop you here. After you stabbed him, did Jamie fall to the commode or to the toilet?
No, he did not. He was already positioned where he was found. I put his head under there to stop him from gasping for air.
Okay.
So it would close it up.
Oh, I see. Okay,
Stop.
now. I'm sorry?
So he would stop making noise.
Okay. Now, how did you know he was dead?
Motherfucker's 14. He said commode. It's a wrap.
I made sure by taking my knife, the point of my knife, and poking him in the face.
All right.
And I checked his eyes also, and they were motionless.
Okay. Now, when he fell, was he on his front, or was he on his side, or on his back? Do you remember?
He was on his front.
Okay.
Faced a kind of diagonal thing.
Yes.
There was blood coming from his mouth to the right of the toilet.
Oh, the cop said it?
And I guess there might have been blood in the toilet. And there was blood on the walls.
All right. What did you do with the knife and the jacket?
I put the knife was broken because of the stab wounds, and I couldn't close it back. So I closed it as much as I could, and I put it in my jacket pocket.
Okay.
I proceeded to go to the sink, and I wiped.
I bit him a cigarette after done eating. Bro, I have the weirdest fucking fans, dude. What's wrong with you, dude? No, I don't even at all. It's been many, many years since I smoked a cigarette. Plus, I chew nicotine gum.
Some of the blood off the jacket. Took the jacket off. No, I did not.
Oh.
When Michael is told to
slow down, bro. We can't be keeping up with all the crimes you're admitting to.
Down here, he seems to be getting carried away as he's telling a story. Overall, both his affect and tone appear markedly blunted throughout. While his speech speeds up either from anxiety or excitement, there's no major change as he talks about going to get the gloves versus viciously stabbing his friend, or even realizing he's dead.
It was at my request because I said that I needed it for extra credit for my science class. I took the knife out and I proceeded to slit his throat. I did not take the jacket off at that point. I just waited to get the blood off.
Okay.
I proceeded to go downstairs to the other bathroom on the first floor.
What do you call your viewers fans? This has got to be this dude's first fucking day on the on the platform. Like, the dude was a 12-month subscriber. I think at that point it's adequate to say fan.
I then wiped myself off with all the stuff off my face and the stuff off my jacket. Then I took the jacket off and put it in my book.
Now, you said that you had flushed some gloves down the toilet.
Two gloves.
2 gloves. How many pair of gloves did you have?
I had 2 pair. 4 gloves in all.
Where did you keep the other pair of gloves?
In the jacket pocket where I kept the knife.
Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Now, before you gloved up this morning in the bathroom, did you remove any of your jewelry?
I removed my rings because they would have cut through the latex glove.
Okay. Did anything...
Like, look, he thinks he's brilliant for, like, thinking of these details, by the way. You could tell. It's just a major flex for him.
Anything unusual, or did you notice anything unusual when you put your hand...
Also, those rings were kind of drippy, but that's besides the point. Why does he have, like... Why does this 14-year-old have so much drip? I did not wear rings like that when I was 14.
In your jacket pocket after the incident.
Yes, one of my rings was missing.
And which ring was that?
It was the ring on my right ring finger.
So, what did you do?
I went back upstairs to find the ring. There was a witness there saying that someone was in that stall.
The way Michael refers to a witness is an indication that he may have strategically and specifically planned the entire murder, considering the possibility of witnesses being present or interfering in some way. He's speaking as if he's a law enforcement official describing or examining this case, rather than the perpetrator describing his own acts.
I went to go look, having known what was there. And I saw my ring and picked it up and then left.
Okay. Had you gone up there actually to check to see if Jamie was okay?
No, I did not.
It was strictly to check on your ring?
My ring, yes.
And why did you want to recover your ring?
Because I value my jewelry.
Okay.
It's very interesting to note how much more Michael's ring meant to him than his dying friend. This detail speaks volumes about exactly how Michael's mind works, namely that he possesses a disturbing disregard for the lives of others.
Do people know that you wear that type of ring?
Yes, many people know I wear this type of jewelry.
Yeah, no shit. This kid's 14, of course. Don't say Hasanabi Core. Shut up.
Could someone have identified you because of the lost ring?
Yes, they could have identified this ring and definitely.
Okay.
He said, King, it's drip or drown.
When you went back upstairs to go back or into the bathroom to look for your ring,
Yes.
who is the individual that told you someone was in the stall?
I'm not sure of his name.
Had you had planned to do this to Jamie?
Yes, I did.
How long have you had this plan?
A little under a week.
And is there any specific reason why you planned this?
No, there's not.
Perhaps the most spine-chilling detail of all, Michael likely killed his friend purely for personal satisfaction. Michael, who had just celebrated his 14th birthday the previous day.
By the way, he's like technically 13. Like he just turned 14 when he did this murder. Insanity.
Had absolutely no reason to commit murder that morning.
I mean, technically 14. Yeah, sorry. I'm just saying that, like, he's so fucking young. Just turned 14.
He simply decided that he wanted to. A situation such as this can reasonably be explained by a bout of severe psych.
No, that's not libertarian logic. That's like the opposite of libertarian logic, by the way. Like, my point is, like, it's his first day as a 14-year-old, and he did this. Can he rehabilitate this? No. There's currently no medicine. This is the one thing that you absolutely cannot rehabilitate.
Psychosis. However, he doesn't present as a person who has psychosis.
Yeah, 14 and a day in, especially if you do a murder, is 14 in my book. Thank you, Nolan. I agree. It's like, bro, what are you doing? You can't enter 14 with a murder. Like, okay, Chad is super hung up on the detail. Yes, he was 14 years old. Okay? But it was his first fucking day of being 14 when he did this. Greatest setup, it's dog shit. But this is an old story. I think this happened a long time ago. Because I had a setup like this too. Back in the day. But never in my room, of course, because my parents... Oh, that's not true. I had it in high school. Yeah, this is the most 2004 ass setup.
Based on his behavior during the interrogation, Michael seems to be thinking clearly and logically. There are no indications that he is
Greatest console of all time, straight up. I will say it. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. PlayStation 2 was such a fucking game changer. Man, what a beautiful piece of machinery that was. The jump from PS1 to PS2 in like tech was unimaginable, dude. The games that came out, it's like mouth-watering for me. And then PS2 to PS3 was like not that big of a jump, and then PS3 to PS4 was not even a jump, and PS5 is not even a thing. But that original PS1 to PS2 jump, fuck man, that shit was so good. God damn it, imagine playing fucking Game Boy games your entire life, and then all of a sudden the PlayStation 2 comes out and you're like, what the fuck? Are you fucking joking? What is this? The colors is so vibrant, the games. It was perfect except for those expensive memory cards. Yeah, the fat yellow ones. You guys had those? It was like this big. You're coping? This is the psychopath's room. So what? You must be a psychopath if you don't recognize that the PlayStation 2 was the greatest fucking console of all time. What do you mean? Anyway, let's continue.
Bonding to internal stimuli, such as voices.
Yeah, 8 and 16 megabyte memory cards. That's what they used to have back then. That shit was so whack. God.
In his head or unseen figures. There's no evidence of paranoia or delusions. Therefore, there is no evidence of a thought disorder. Michael's heightened intelligence and composure, as well as his blatant lack of remorse, are reminiscent of someone with antisocial personality disorder. However, an ASPD diagnosis cannot be given to anyone under 18. We cannot conclude that Michael has ASPD or psychopathy, the term often used to describe the most severe.
Bro, dog, it says what a 14-year-old psychopath looks like. What do you mean? You titled it that way.
Type of antisocial personality.
It's like we're heavily implying it.
Not only because we don't have enough information about Michael's symptoms and history, but also because Michael is only 14 years old and too young to be given such a diagnosis. At most, Michael's behaviors align with the diagnosis.
Bro, this kid was so rich, by the way. Like, it's obvious. Not only did he have all the jewelry and shit, but I cannot comprehend. Like, I had a fairly affluent family. The idea that, like, he had all this many VHSs, he had his own fucking TV in his room, he had his own PC in his room, he had a PlayStation 2 in his room. That's crazy. This kid was absolutely from like an upper middle class to a wealthy family.
Diagnosis of conduct disorder.
Motherfucker, you did dressage? That's what I'm saying. Takes one to know one.
Particularly since he has a history of taunting and physically.
And also probably parents that didn't really give a fuck about him too, for the record. Like, the reason why I say that is because, like, a lot of, like, first of all, he bought all these, like, weird knives and shit. That's crazy. Screams parents that give him money and don't really pay attention. The fact that he has a PlayStation 2 in his room and he has all this set up in his room also implies that his parents didn't really give a shit about him because they were just like, yeah, fuck off. Go do your thing. Like, classic. My parents never let me do any of that stuff. They never let me have a PC or anything in my room. They never let me have the PlayStation. Like, all that stuff was completely locked away.
And composure as well, because we don't have a history of taunting and physically that the person likes of the person, or when they are told that the person likely suffered. In other words, they don't respond with an emotion that matches the circumstance.
Why did you choose Jamie, your friend?
He was the easiest out of anybody because he would have followed me because we're such good friends. And I knew he would have followed me in there and done what I would have said.
Okay. Now, I asked you about an individual named Andre Martin.
Yes.
Do you know Andre? How old is Andre?
He is 13.
What grade is Andre in?
He's in 8th grade.
Is he a friend of yours?
Yes, he is.
Is he in any of your classes?
No, he's not.
How long have you known Andre?
I have known him since about the 4th or 5th grade.
And I know you told me earlier that usually you and Andre and Jamie hang out.
Yes,
at the
parking lot.
At the fence, correct. Calling your attention to yesterday, Monday, your birthday.
My birthday.
Did there come a time when you approached Andre with the same type of ruse?
Yeah, yes, there was. We were, me, Andre, Jamie, and myself were in the bathroom.
Which bathroom?
We were in the other bathroom than where the victim was found today.
Referring to Jaime as the victim may be evidence of how detached Michael feels from someone who was supposedly his friend. He may be unable to or have difficulties with forming real emotional attachments to other people. This phrasing could be another indication of psychopathy, as it shows Michael has a lack of pro-social emotions. Empathy and emotional attachment are considered pro-social emotions, which are things psychopaths struggle with feeling.
I don't know if a True Crime React is ethical after the recent ethics of true crime discussion going on. A React just ain't exactly great. I only thought about this now, and I doubt you considered it either. What? Yeah, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to keep doing this, I think.
This is why they often present as emotionally detached, distant, and indifferent, because they're apathetic to society
Where
and
did
to
that
people
come
and
from?
situations in general. The fact that psychopaths...
Oh, people are upset about the new Dahmer show on Netflix? Oh, wait, why? What happened? I didn't watch it. Is it good? After the Dahmer show on Netflix, there's been a big discourse on Twitter about ethical true crime. It's fucking lame. Don't worry about it. Yeah, man. It's not good. It is good. Oh my God, chat is so conflicted. Victims' families are upset. Oh, they're mad because Dahmer's hot. Is that what it is? I mean, he technically was hot in real life too. Like, he was seen as an attractive man. Is he really creepy on the show? I mean, he's a cannibal, so of course. I don't think people understand, like, this is literally a component that plays a role. Even Ted Bundy famously was able to, like, flirt with his victims ahead of time and, like, lure them in before, you know, doing gruesome, horrific shit. It's so good, but as always, people tend to romanticize serial killers as a consequence of sensationalizing murders rather than bring awareness to the matter. But either way, the show slaps. This thing is, like, I've just never been able to fucking understand why they look at shit like this and go, damn, that shit's great. I will never understand that, ever. Like, I look at that and I'm like, that's so fucking gross. Not every serial killer is gonna look British, okay? I'm sorry. Not every one of them is gonna look like fucking, what's his face, that rapist guy. The fucking most famous rapist, not Jimmy Savile, thank you, Jimmy Savile. Like, that dude, you look at him, he's like, okay, that looks exactly like what a rapist would look like. Not Prince Andrew, no. Damn, there's a lot of British rapists, man. Holy shit. No, stop pulling up the Tory lineup right now. I'm talking about one specific. Jimmy Savile.
Paths are emotionally detached helps them to stay calm in situations that would cause the average person to feel afraid or nervous, such as in an interrogation or the act of committing murder.
What were your intentions yesterday?
My intentions yesterday were to kill Andre. The same way that I killed Jamie today, except for the fact that I was gonna stab him in the back and stab here in the abdomen.
Who is this you were going to do it to?
I was going to do this to Andre.
Michael seems almost enthusiastic about the opportunity to disclose every meticulously planned detail of how he was going to kill both of his friends. The animated way in which he illustrates his master plan to the detective indicates that he's relishing the opportunity to divulge his wicked scheme, and even enjoying the attention he's receiving. Whatever his motivation, Michael seems extremely invested in this experience of being involved in a real criminal proceeding. These are several more signs of possible antisocial personality disorder. From a legal perspective, his intention to cruelly execute multiple people could be used as evidence that Michael is essentially a serial killer in the making. The prosecution could argue that a life sentence is necessary in order to protect potential victims of a future serial killer.
Earlier you told me that you had a belt and you were going to strangle someone.
Yes.
This is what I mean, by the way. Like, remember when we talk about like prison abolition, not that like the 1% of criminals, even though psychopaths are overrepresented in corporate boardrooms, the government, high up government positions, and also the prison system. But having said that, just because a fraction of prisoners that are incarcerated are psychopathic doesn't mean that you shouldn't have an empathetic approach to justice. However, they are the reason, in my opinion, at least until, you know, there is some level of like medical technology that knows and adequately figures out how the most ethical way to deal with psychopaths are, like what kind of medical treatment you can do with a psychopath. There is still a necessity for people like this to be held and away from and kept away from society. Is it nature or nurture? No, man. I mean, it can be both, but sometimes it is nature. Like, there's nothing you can do. You gotta fucking make sure that you exclude motherfuckers like this from society. They're gonna kill. He literally is just like, I'm gonna kill. I'm gonna kill again. I wanted to strangle another person. You know what I mean? There's always nature and nurture as a component, but like mental illness, you can't fix them? No. Psychopathy is a very specific type of mental illness. Antisocial personality disorder is a very specific type of mental illness that is incredibly difficult to diagnose, incredibly difficult to also consistently do psych evaluations on, because a psychopath learns how to display emotions and is incredibly manipulative as a consequence of that, and can even manipulate the doctors. Now, having said that, you can't really treat it at this moment either. Like, we just don't fully understand it. We just don't fully understand it, and we don't really know how to deal with it, and we don't really know how to even, even engage with like criminal psychopaths. So, for example, in the UK, they have involuntary holds. Like, it's pretty crazy. Where like they have a really rigid and really awful way of doing it, but like once you get a psychopath diagnosis in the UK, you're permanently locked up. If you are a psychopath and you've done like a violent psychopathic crime, oftentimes they just like straight up lock you forever. That doesn't mean that like every psychopath is violent, by the way, but violent psychopaths are very difficult to treat. Yes, Ron Johnson, The Psychopath Test, is a great book. Just like everything else, yes, it is a spectrum too. No one uses psychopath, sociopath as a medical diagnosis as a common use term. Yes, I'm talking about antisocial personality disorder, which is not inherently violent, but I'm talking about, See, Ron Johnson, I was reading chat. I'm sorry. Dude, my brain is broken, okay?
First, and then after he was dead, I was going to make...
What is this? I love when chatters go pog. Just saw you on Andrew Schultz's podcast. To be honest, I used to think your ideas were nuts, but loved everything you had to say. Happy to admit I was wrong here. Let's go.
Sure, by stabbing him.
Okay, and this was Andre.
This was Andre.
Now, did you lure him into the bathroom yesterday?
Into the bathroom, yes, not the stall.
Okay. And how did you accomplish that?
The bathroom?
Yes.
We were late to class. I told them both that we were gonna be late to class. And so we snuck upstairs after the late bell had rung. We got to the bathroom, and I was trying to convince Andre to go into the stall.
Okay. And how were you going to do that?
I told him that I had something to show him.
Okay.
Yes.
And what was his response to that?
His response, he didn't want to do it, so he said no. He's like, why can't Jamie go first? My response then was that he's gonna go next.
Okay. Now, did Jamie agree? Did Jamie say, I'll come in, I'll look?
Yes, he did.
Okay. And what did you say at that point?
I said no, he's gonna go first.
Okay. And any particular reason why?
I wanted to get Andre killed first before I got Jamie.
All right. Now, when that did not happen yesterday, what did you end up telling Andre and Jamie?
Michael is taking up a lot of space on the table with his arms and hands. This could be indicative of confidence and feeling in control of the conversation, or at the very least, feeling at an equal level as the detective.
I said, all right. And I said, okay, are you gonna guys cooperate tomorrow? They're like, yeah, okay, we'll cooperate tomorrow. All right.
Michael's word choice here says a lot about his relationship with his friends at school. When Andre refuses to go into the stall with him the day prior, Michael asks his friends if, in his own words, they'll cooperate with him the next day instead, to which they both agree. The way he speaks to his friends indicates that Michael was likely the authority figure in his friend group, and that his friends regularly felt like they had to obey him. That might explain why he thought he could easily lure them both to a horrific fate. Sadly, Michael was right about Jaime, but clearly underestimated Andre.
Today, before this happened to Jamie, what were your intentions going to be if Andre should have shown up?
I would have talked him into coming to the bathroom with me, coming into the stall. Then I would have proceeded to slit his throat and stab him continuously until he died in the neck area.
Yes.
And then I would have left him there.
Yes.
Then gone back downstairs and talked Jamie into coming upstairs. Lured him into the other bathroom and slit his throat and stabbed him in the neck.
Okay. Now, Mike, where did you get this knife from?
I have a knife collection.
Uh-huh.
I've been collecting knives, and as I said, my dad has a store. And so I asked him for some knives. This was before I was gonna do this.
Yes.
And I asked him for some knives. He's like, all right, you can take them. Because I wanted a switch, not a switchblade, but like a knife that can come out
I
easily.
think they call them gravity knives.
Michael had exhibited several warning signs of concerning behavior prior to the murder, most of which detectives won't discover until they speak with more of Michael's schoolmates over the next few days. Students reported that Michael demonstrated an intense interest in all things gore and death. Even the screensaver on his computer at school featured a scary creature covered in blood, which had caught the attention of other classmates. Michael also had a history of teasing and physically assaulting his peers. He'd been reprimanded in the past for mocking and hitting a couple of female classmates. He was also known to poke and chase other kids with a screwdriver that he kept in his backpack.
Let me ask you this. Is there any particular reason why you did this to Jamie?
No, there's not.
Did he offend you in any way?
No, he did not.
Did he harm you in any way?
No, he did not.
Mike, you know the difference between right and wrong, correct?
Yes, I do.
Do you think what you did is right or wrong?
No, I don't.
Well, what don't you think?
I think it is neither right, but I don't think it was wrong.
Do you know what you did is wrong?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
The fact that Michael is saying that he doesn't think what he did was right or wrong shows us that he must have come up with his own explanation or justification for what he did. Had the detective probed further, we may have gotten more information about why Michael believes that killing Jaime wasn't necessarily wrong. This could have possibly revealed some delusional thinking. Michael said himself that Jaime didn't do anything to him, so for Michael to believe that what he did wasn't wrong means that he likely has some type of unconventional belief about taking someone else's life.
Is this?
Oh, what the fuck? I was muted. Debate perverts, not even once. I'm just gonna say it and we're gonna react. We're not gonna react. We're just gonna move on, okay? That's debate pervertry.
The first time that you have been involved in something like this, Michael?
Yes, it is.
Are you sorry that this happened today?
No, I'm not.
And this was an unprovoked attack on Jamie?
Yes, it was.
Sir, has everything you told me been true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes, it has.
Have I forced you to give this statement, sir?
No, you have not.
Have I treated you
This
gentlemanly?
is just the regular Florida way of wrapping up an investigation.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you have.
Thank you, sir. I have no further questions.
Following his interrogation, Michael was transported to the Juvenile Assessment Center. Michael stood trial 4 years later, pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. At his trial, a particularly startling piece of evidence was brought forth. a notebook of Michael's that contained information about famous serial killers, a list of people he planned to kill, including his older sister, and a mission statement that declared his need to cleanse the planet by murdering people. Needless to say, the jury took no pity on him. On September 24, 2008, Michael Hernandez was found guilty of the first-degree murder of Jaime Goff and the attempted first-degree murder of Andre Martin. He was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole, plus 30 years for the attempted murder charge. 8 years later, in an unforeseen turn of events, a Supreme Court ruling made it unlawful to automatically sentence a minor to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Michael appealed and was retried in 2016. He was again sentenced to life in prison.
And ain't no way, bro. They're not letting you out of prison, not an American prison system. No shot.
And returned to the Columbia Correctional Institute to serve the remainder of his sentence. However, Michael wouldn't remain in prison.
I don't know, man. I still don't think he deserves a life sentence as a kid at the end of the day. This is literally one of like 8 instances where I will agree to like involuntary permanent confinement. Okay, some level of like medical checks and medical diagnosis needs to happen. Nah, there is no way. There's no fucking way. Also, how do you get fatter in prison? That is kind of crazy. I was thinking about that as well. So you think it's a 100% lost cause? Well, unfortunately, with our current level of like medicinal knowledge, medical knowledge, treatment, we don't have an adequate treatment for someone who has like literally a antisocial personality disorder and a willingness to, and a willingness they've demonstrated to kill people. Finish this. I want to know why he wasn't in prison for long. Spoiler alert, it's coming.
Very long. On April 29th, 2021, Michael suddenly collapsed and shortly thereafter was pronounced dead. His cause of death was noted as cardiac dysrhythmia, or an irregular heartbeat in connection with morbid obesity.
Michael said, wow, it's not this basically you. Yeah, dude. Okay, hear me out. These kids.
Was ist euer Begehr? Bewahrt euren Stolz. Anube Lore dell'Ana. Lebt wohl.
Unsere Feinde werden fallen. Shorel Aran. Der Tag der Abrechnung wird kommen.
The drama began shortly after the Frederick Police Department received a call from Nicole Atkinson, the best friend of Shannon Watts. She had arranged to drive Shannon into town that same day for a pregnancy checkup, but there was no answer when she knocked at the door, nor any response to her text messages or phone calls. After noticing her shoes were still at the front door, she became concerned and called 911.
Okay,
Nicole?
Yes.
Okay. What's going on?
So my friend, we were out of town for a business trip this weekend.
Right. and I dropped her off at 2 o'clock this morning. She's 15 weeks pregnant. She wasn't feeling well, and she had a doctor's appointment this morning at 9, and I told her to let me know if she needed me to take her. She's got 2 little girls. I've called, I've texted.
Chat, fucking chill, dude. Fucking chill, bro. We're watching this one. I've decided. I know it's 3 parts. I understand that it's long. Okay? I don't care. Like, just please calm down, okay? Please. Like, I'm begging you. Just fucking cool it. Just get your popcorn. Get under the goddamn covers. Whatever the fuck you want to do. And just watch, okay? Oh my lord, dude. You're... Like, we will watch all of these in due time, okay? Fuck me. Just calm down. Just snuggle in, okay? Cool it.
Her car's in the garage. Her shoes she wears every single day are by the front door.
Is there TOS in any of these videos? No, right? Is there TOS in this?
How you doing? You seen your neighbors today? No? Okay. What's Chris's phone number?
Chris's phone number is...
Hey Chris, Officer Coonrod for the police department. Pretty good. So, do you have any idea where your wife is? Right. What my concern is her car's here. They're saying she is diabetic, and I don't want her if she's upstairs and can't respond. Okay. About how far out are you? Okay. All right. He said like 5 minutes.
It's not a sure sign of guilty conduct, yet the fact that Chris made the officer wait for his return would have most likely alerted some minor suspicion. In normal circumstances, a husband receiving a call from the police saying they were concerned about the safety of their pregnant wife and children, in most cases, would have given them permission to immediately kick the door down. It's a truly somber awareness to know that the man stepping out of the car had only a very short time ago dumped his infant daughter's bodies into an oil tank and buried his pregnant wife in a shallow grave.
I literally remember the story.
Scott, how you doing? How's it going? So this is the only vehicle she would have? Only one that, yeah. She would drive? Okay.
The familiar routine for anyone checking for someone's presence inside a house, whether it be an emergency or otherwise, is to immediately call out to them for instantaneous reassurance. Chris remains silent, but instead feels the need to examine his wife's car before subtly sneaking through the internal garage door. He then disappears for 1 minute and 7 seconds before letting the neighbors and police officer inside. Only Chris will know what he carried out during that time period, but it's safe to assume that his curious behavior was not going unnoticed, made evident by the unsettled gaze of Nicole as he opens the door.
Mind if I come in, Chris?
There were multiple key moments captured from...
Oh my god, the fucking neighbor is like... So we're gonna start with Michael Dreshka.
The definition of justifiable homicide is a killing without evil or criminal intent. It's a type of defense used in criminal law, where the homicide of another is excused by reason of the offending party being under imminent threat of death or serious bodily injury. A homicide in this instance is considered blameless, yet the ability to prove or refute this defense will often boil down to some of the most precise technicalities that would most often be considered insignificant under different circumstances. At around 3:30 p.m. on July 19, 2018, 29-year-old Brittany Jacobs drove to the Circle A food store located in Clearwater, Florida. In the passenger seat was her 28-year-old boyfriend, Marquise McLaughlin, while in the back seat were their 3 children who were all under the age of 6 at the time. When they got to the store, Brittany parked the vehicle in the store's only handicapped parking space located on the side of the building. Marquise then got out and went into the store with their 5-year-old son to buy drinks and snacks. Roughly 90 seconds later, while Brittany was still inside the vehicle, 47-year-old Michael Dreka pulled up in his Toyota and illegally parked alongside her. He got out of his truck and started circling. The drama began shortly after the Frederick Police Department received a call from Nicole Atkinson, the best friend of Shannon Watts. She had...
You can be mentally unwell. You are...
Window off the side, and one person went in and looked and discovered a body.
Okay, do you know who it is?
Yes, Janet and Rick Sweet.
On May 13th, 2012, the family of Rick and Janet Sweet made a horrific discovery at the couple's home in Manchester, Iowa. They had no idea the dark secrets that were soon to be uncovered.
Is there
But
blood?
in this twisted case, it was the police who were left shocked at the admissions of a too honest killer. a killer who you will hear from in an exclusive, never-before-heard interview. The relatives of Rick and Janet Sweet had planned to celebrate Mother's Day, as was their yearly tradition. But as the family approached the house that day, they instantaneously felt that something was very wrong. This feeling was confirmed when they knocked on the door and no one answered. Immediately, they noticed that one of the windows had been shattered, but in no way could they predict the gruesome findings that lay inside. Peering through the broken glass, they glimpsed a horrifying sight. Rick and Janet were inside, both in pools of blood on their couch, murdered in their own home. Shocked and in a panic, a call to 911 was quickly made.
There is certainly a body inside, and I noticed a gunshot through the window, and so rather than go in and explore, we're calling you.
But a burning question lingered in the air. Who could have committed such an evil act? The horror of the discovery was made all the worse as the investigation began. Rick and Janet's family members.
The voice is so crispy that it makes me feel like he's like excited at the prospect of murder.
Members quickly informed the police that there was one person still unaccounted for. The couple's 17-year-old grandson, Isaiah Sweet, who lived in the home with them. Fearing that he may have met a similarly grisly end, authorities began looking for the missing teen. But they never could have imagined what they would uncover when they finally caught up with Isaiah. On May 14th, the day after the bodies were found, Isaiah was finally located in Cedar.
This guy 100% does the cock and ball torture. Isn't that, what was it? Wait, what the fuck? Oh my god, it just unlocked a memory in my head. Oh my god. What was it? Winamp. Winamp. It really whips the llama's ass. Oh my god, you have to be 30 years old to know what I just referenced there. Cum zone. Welcome to the cum zone. Winamp still exists and runs? Wait, really? You are old. If you know what I just said, you are old as fuck. Winamp. It really whips the llama's. Is that what it is? That's the line, right? It really whips the llama's ass or something? Is that what it says? Trapaholics, real trap shit.
Rapids, after previously
Damn, son, where'd you find this? Is what I would say if I found the bodies.
Driving 75 miles to Iowa City. Apparently, the teenager was spotted walking towards a park and was quickly pursued by nearby officers. Isaiah seemingly tried to outrun them, but quickly surrendered once he heard the sound of police dogs on his trail. Now knowing that no harm had come to Isaiah, at least not the kind that his grandparents had suffered, the police were eager to hear if he had any insight into the horrific crime. He was promptly brought in for an interview. You'll notice that Isaiah is in handcuffs, and you'll soon understand why.
Put those things off you. Probably feel a little bit better. Oh, yeah. You're gonna be good with me, right? Yes, sir. All right.
The detective offers to remove Isaiah's handcuffs as a gesture of goodwill and to try and build positive rapport with him. This also serves the purpose of removing the constant reminder that Isaiah is in police custody, which may help him feel more comfortable.
Why don't we shut this thing for privacy, okay? Yes, sir. Grab some of that food, okay, Isaiah? Isaiah, since we haven't officially met, hey, my name's Scott Rieger. Okay, I'm an agent with the Iowa DCI. I'm a police officer. I never look like it, but I figured this was a little bit more comfortable.
He's like, yeah, I'm a lot more fit physically. I don't have that thumb-like presence that you're probably used to, so go ahead and tell you that I am a cop. Although I do not look like a thumb, I am still very much a cop, a police officer.
Well, for me,
so after this, is there any way I can go to the hospital for this? I cut it open on a rusty fence, and
absolutely.
I'm pretty sure
Absolutely.
I'm worried about tetanus.
Yep, nope, absolutely.
Isaiah isn't being interviewed in a typical interrogation room, but instead is in what appears to be the detective's office. This isn't ideal, as there are numerous distractions that will be a constant reminder of where he is.
I'm going to show you this here. This is called a statement of rights and an acknowledgement of a waiver, okay?
Right to remain silent. Anything I say can and will be used against me in a court of law. Right to an attorney. If I cannot afford one will be appointed to me.
You've got those things down already,
yes, sir.
Okay, let me read these to you. Is that all right?
Why is he so excited?
All right.
Isaiah may be trying to show off or appear smart by reciting his Miranda rights. However, all he's done is prove that he's quite familiar with the criminal justice process, possibly due to past encounters with police. Regardless, it's the detective who must read Isaiah his Miranda rights, and he agrees to continue talking without a lawyer being present.
Go ahead, now down. When was the last time you had something to eat?
4 days ago.
You haven't eaten anything in 4 days? Right. And we got more food, so if you wallow that stuff down, you want to keep going, we've got more food, we can keep it coming.
Damn, you guys made me feel like I didn't do anything wrong.
Why do you say that?
Well, let's put it like this. I'm not going to be lying to you guys about anything you ask me.
And I appreciate that.
No problem.
Okay.
Isaiah appears to be taken off guard by the warm treatment from the detective, especially when it comes to being offered additional food. This puts the detective in a very good position, and Isaiah may be more inclined to give him the information he wants to continue to receive this kind of treatment.
They're not going to take this from me, are they?
What is it?
This is a real Rolex.
Okay, where'd you get that from?
I found it in a hobo's tent.
Down there?
Yeah, in CR.
Okay, we'll just keep it up there and we'll probably deal with that later.
Cops, there was like 4 or 5 cops
in Cambridge?
Yep, looking for me.
Okay.
And one of them came up to me, started talking to me, asked if I knew where I was. And I was like, no.
So he didn't recognize you
Yeah, I
at
was
all?
like, no, I don't even know where he's at. Like, I had my hair back to here.
Now, what would have been one of the reasons you were pulling your hair back?
Trying to not be seen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
At first, he was asking if I saw the other cops, and I was like, nope. And then he was like, do you know who Isaiah Sweet is? And I was like, no idea.
Not a clue who that is. What are you thinking the whole time he's asking that?
I'm thinking, how fast am I going to run? As soon as he walks away from me.
What I want you to do right now is just kind of relax, go ahead and eat that food, kind of mound down. Like I said, I want to kind of start and kind of walk back through some things first.
All right.
Okay?
More than anything, I want to know what brought me to what I did, what's wrong with me.
Sure. Then,
Like, I'm about to start bawling.
Okay. Hey, Isaiah, if you cry, that's totally fine, man. I respect that, okay?
Son, I want to go back so bad.
How come?
Because I loved them so much, and they didn't deserve that.
How come they didn't deserve it?
If anyone in that house deserved it, I did. More than anyone.
Take your time, brother.
They raised me since I was 4, and I never faded much.
Janet and Rick had taken custody of Isaiah when he was just 4 years old, due to their daughter's inability to care for him. Stacy Sweet, Isaiah's mother, had allegedly suffered from substance abuse and could no longer support her young son. But her parents were more than willing to take him into their home. Immediately, Isaiah will answer one of the questions looming over the investigation. But even with this reveal, there are even more disturbing questions left to be uncovered.
When you say what happened that night at the house, what happened?
Shot both of them.
Okay. What'd you shoot him with, Isaiah?
An assault rifle.
An assault rifle? You remember what it looks like?
Black.
Okay. What,
Black, bolt action, 10 or more round clip. It's, Czechoslovakian.
Okay.
AR-15.
Okay. Okay. It takes a lot to admit that, Isaiah. Okay. That's not an easy thing to do.
Not a church. That's not AR.
Okay, and Isaiah, this is...
play dumb with you.
Okay, and I appreciate that.
Although Isaiah has just admitted to killing his grandparents, the detective so desperately wants to get to the bottom of how this
That's not an AR-15.
horrific crime came to be. In
It's bolt action, as he correctly pointed out.
doing so, he ensures that there is nothing preventing Isaiah from answering any question that may be thrown his way.
How you feeling, right? I mean, you're with me right now,
I feel
right?
like I don't really know, much.
AR and AR-15 stands for assault rifle. Or, sorry, automatic rifle. Sorry, I fucked it up at first.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, Isaiah. You understand who I am. You understand I'm a police officer. You understand that the guys who brought you up here, why they had to find you, okay, and they brought you up there. There's nothing bad.
How can I be doing this for this many years and I still have this many idiots in the chat? No, you're wrong. It's not Armalite. it's automatic rifle 15 because it's automatic.
Medically right now that's preventing you to talk to me, right? But you understand the questions I'm asking you right now, okay?
It stands for Armalite rifle after the company that made them. You're wrong. It stands for automatic rifle because it's fully automatic. They're still doing it. They're still doing it. And the 15 is how fast it shoots bullets. The 15 stands for the 15 bullets that it shoots from its clip in 1 second. How'd you learn so much? Holy shit. Yeah. I know a lot about guns. Not a big deal. It's kind of my thing. Big fan. Yeah. You're wrong and you're wrong and somehow it's transphobic too. Yeah, they should actually call it AR-15 for the 14 times that it fucking jams before you can finally shoot it. Low key. Oh, Maratsu. I'm like, what the fuck? Sorry. Okay, now you're just wrong about the jamming thing? No, I'm not. What the fuck are you talking about? It literally is not. It does jam regularly. Are you kidding me? I'm also, yeah, I'm no longer joking. The jamming part was actually serious. The automatic rifle, whatever, shut the fuck up. But the jamming part is very serious. 1960s called it wants your gun tropes back. Brother, you literally saw me at the fucking shooting range with the automatic rifle 15 jammed up. That is an insane fucking take. It does. It does. It is worse. It is worse than the AK-47. It just is. Okay, let's get back to this conversation, though. That gun was not an AR-15.
Right, there's no question that you're not smart enough to handle these questions.
I'm extremely intelligent.
Okay. And you know what? I get that. I think you are.
I just make stupid choices.
Yeah. And sometimes we do, Isaiah. Look at me.
I'm never going to be able to go back on it.
No. And that's, you know what, Isaiah, part of this is that what you're doing today by telling me the whole truth as far as what happened, not only what's leading up to it, but what happened during it. I know it's going to be tough to walk through, but we need to do that, okay? And then we need to talk about what happened afterwards, okay? All the details we need with this is your chance to start healing yourself on the inside. Walk me through Friday. What's going on Friday? Walk me through the time you wake up on Friday morning.
Stop. Dude, imagine sending me... Dude, imagine sending me a Snopes article, dude. Come on. Jesus Christ, leftists, like, please stop. I can't tell if you're, like, playing into the meme now by, like, reverse memeing me, or if you're just, like, unironically incapable of, like, playing along with a joke. Like, you just don't understand it. It has to be a joke, right? That's crazy. That, like, I can't, like, make the most common... like left-leaning joke about AR and what it stands for.
When someone's gaze drifts to the left after they're asked a question, this generally indicates that there is some inner dialogue going on in their head. This doesn't necessarily mean they're being deceptive. However, detectives will take note of this behavior.
He sat at home on house arrest all day.
Okay, were Grandpa and Grandma home?
And then I went down to the basement. Up there's a door that goes into the garage from the basement. I went up to the garage and then in their room, took the assault rifle out of their room, and then I loaded it with 10 bullets, walked up the stairs, took like a point like this, had earmuffs on and everything. I took a point like this, stepped up one stair so I could see my grandpa's head, boom, pulled the trigger back, pulled the bolt back, shot my grandpa twice in the head.
Where was your grandpa sitting?
They were both sitting on the couch.
Okay. And where were you at?
I was on the stairs coming up, like
coming up from that landing? Okay, because I've heard, I haven't been inside your house, but you know, some of the guys were up there the other day and they're kind of going through it.
Hollow point assault rifle rounds. And then I went up to him and I just broke down, started crying. I told him how much I loved him.
Apparently, the teenager was heading down a tumultuous path filled with partying, substance abuse, and rebellious behavior. During his high school years, Isaiah had supposedly begun to fraternize with a crowd of older kids, where he used substances such as marijuana and methamphetamine.
Marijuana.
Along with this, he allegedly possessed severe learning disabilities, making his education all the tougher to accomplish.
Yeah. There you go. You get in with the wrong crowd, and I mean, dude. Okay, first of all, yeah, I was gonna say Isaiah Sweet was later formally diagnosed with conduct disorder. Seems a little bit more.
Fortunately, this only led to further issues, as Isaiah dropped out of high school at the age of 16. It seemed that after this, the unruly teen's dangerous actions were beginning.
I do love that, you know, old school, but the idea, the notion of adding marijuana and methamphetamine together is sick. It's fucking fire. It actually. How many?
Beginning to manifest at home. During the course of the last year leading up to the horrendous crime, Janet and Rick had called the police 18 separate times on account of Isaiah's unpredictable nature. On one occasion, that in hindsight would foreshadow the events that followed, Isaiah threatened to kill his grandfather and hurt his grandmother, along with burning the house down. On September 8th, 2011, police once again made their way to the infamous house to try and stop the emerging incident. They instructed Isaiah to...
Bro, how the fuck do they literally do this routinely and then nothing comes of it? How?
Die finsteren Zeiten werden vorübergehen.
Like at the top of the hour, you know there's a 3-minute ad break. Fuck! 3-minute ad break. Here's a 3-minute ad break now.
To calm down, but instead of obeying the command, the angry teenager
Maddie's Sadie,
retaliated
the
by
5.
going at his grandparents once more, before being handcuffed and placed on a couch. It's reported that once calm, Isaiah was informed that he would be charged if the officers had to return to the house. Numerous other encounters consisted of the same nature: violence, substance use, and threats. At one point, Isaiah was supposedly threatening Rick and Janet so much that they wanted him to be placed in foster care. But they were promptly notified that this wasn't an option, as Isaiah's mother would have to be the one to take him in, which the grandparents did not want. On April 11th, 2012, the most recent call to the police was made due to the fact that the teenager was using a lighter and aerosol to make a blowtorch inside the house. When police arrived, Janet insisted that rather than arresting Isaiah, she simply wanted him under control. The officers helped to calm the situation before they left without incident. Another call to law enforcement occurred when the grandparents suspected that Isaiah had been using illegal substances, which was confirmed once a search discovered a marijuana pipe within the residence. Despite the history of police calls, Isaiah tells a very different story of this turbulent period in his life, and you'll hear it all for yourself.
I'm trying to kill myself every single night since it happened.
Take your time, man.